don't
usually.
we?
Yeah, yours is usually a little louder.
But your volume is pushed up more on yours. So
I noticed that.
So
I
we don't know what
know.
we're doing.
Yeah.
So it could be, you could be crazy loud, I could be crazy loud, or it could have not worked at all.
Right. She'll text
We're
me
waiting
in a
for
second.
2 to text us. 2 immediately text us. 911. Let us know. It's so funny. Is she there?
Not yet.
Okay.
She'll will.
Rob texted me.
She's got a lot to do.
Rob, hopefully he's listening.
Yeah.
Rob, if you're listening, give us a mic sound on me and Christina talking to your mic.
And on me, let us know how the volume is, how the level is.
We're about to get started. Or anybody that's out there.
Yeah, anybody.
Anybody. If you're watching live and not on a replay.
Okay, here we got a text.
We got somebody. We got something rolling in.
She just said, y'all sound good. Sorry. Just saw it. Yeah, we just popped up for her. She said, we sound good.
They sound pretty good and equal. Listen to us. We did something. We did something with audio. Woohoo. Because we did something and my mic got louder, but then yours was so quiet.
Right.
And
But I can always just, talk louder.
We were laughing because I'm like, you little loudmouth. And she's like, you little loudmouth. So we're trying to get it tuned up. But it sounds like Rob said they sound pretty equal.
Great. That's awesome.
That was our goal.
That
Let's
was
high
our
five
goal.
again.
Yay.
Yay.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
It does. And it takes a lot of teamwork.
It does.
In the audio department because
Ooh, a lot of
like
patience
the
too.
blind leading the blind.
I know.
Yes. But it sounds like we got something done.
Yeah.
We made
some
if I can
progress.
remember what I did. I kind of remember what I did, but I'm going to show you
Okay.
after this. So now that we just had our little audio breakdown show. Again, Wednesday Night Live. Welcome to Wednesday Night Live. Our camera does look a little
Crooked,
off
right?
and
But I
crooked.
checked it. It was right
I feel
on.
like I need to.
I know, but it was like, I think it's just because we're on the side. Like you're on one side, I'm on. Because when I go like in the middle, I feel like it's dead on.
That's true. So
It was good in the picture when I checked it.
Yay. It's so funny because we do one setup for lives. We do another setup for the Grace Awakening network TV show.
We do another setup for in-person roundtable.
Yeah. So we are move it all around kind of people. But we're working on getting a setup that will work where we don't have to break down.
Set up, break
set
down,
back up,
break
and
down.
break it down and set back up. So that'll help because it's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, we've kind of got it down, but it's still every single time. It eats up a lot of time.
It does. And it's fun to have it like all set up and then
Ready to go.
You just go. So, but there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
But I love everything that we're doing.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm really
too.
excited about
fun.
what we're doing, about what we're going to begin to do next year. So let's see. Before we get into this, we are talking again today about the power of no. We're going to be talking, this is part 4, and we're going to be talking about ways that I think it's hard for people to say no. So we're going to be talking about ways to say no that maybe like we can give you not necessarily a script, but something to say to begin your no, to get a little bit more comfortable with it. So what I'd like everybody to do, this is a live, so on the live, if you're on the replay, you're going to have to text us to ask. But on the live, if anybody has a situation where they need to say no about something, or they need to say no in response to something that somebody's saying, if you'll put it in the comments, we will do that. We will do that. 2 will let us know.
We'll go over that scenario.
Yeah, we'll go over that scenario. And because it's really hard sometimes, like we'll try to come up with some here, but I like for people to use specific situations. So if you're like, even if you say like, man, my best friend wants to go over here and I don't want to go over there, or it's just not convenient, how do I say no to that? Because I think most of the times, if you can, once you start teaching people about boundaries and people are like, okay, I can say no, but how do I be an advocate for myself?
Right.
I'm not, because automatically, if you're not used to saying no, you'll feel like you're being rude. So you have to kind of overcome that hurdle. And then after that hurdle, then it'll be like, it'll just feel so weird.
Yeah.
Saying no. Like, let's say your boss wants you to work some overtime and you're like, you already have plans and you can't do that. How do you say no to that? And like, because your anxiety, if you're a people pleaser and you're used to just being a yes person and you begin to say no, you're really going to experience a lot of anxiety probably. And you're going to go home and think, oh, I just got fired.
Yeah.
They're going to fire me because I said no to that. And so we just really want you to come up with some phrases and just some tips on communication where you can say no a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And also, one of the biggest things that I wanted to talk about in the power of no and ways to say no are that you need to decide whether you're in a conversation or not. You know where I'm going with this?
Yeah. I do.
There's a really big difference if somebody, like, you're not always in a conversation. There's a big difference if somebody's just trying to collect enough information to try to change your mind, if somebody's just trying to argue with you. And so it makes a huge difference. Like, you have to decide first whether you're in a conversation. Like, let's begin to talk. Let's define maybe what a conversation or a dialogue looks like. A dialogue is you go back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm interested in what you have to say. You're interested in what I have to say. So we talk back and forth and we get input from each other. But a lot of times we're not having conversations. We're not having dialogues with people. If you want to change my mind, then what are you doing?
I have an agenda, and that's
right.
all I can have the conversation through is that filter of that agenda.
Everything is bent around that agenda. And you'll begin to see, because you'll begin to be like, man, I feel like they're pushing the conversation in this direction. And they'll ask questions. So it'll be like, oh yeah, I'm having the dialogue. But it's not really a question. What it is it's a bid for more information so I can know how to convince you even more. Like, let's just make a bit with that. Let's do a bit.
Let's do it.
Let's try to see. Let's say I'm trying, like, it's so funny. We try to talk each other into going to the movies all the time.
Oh yeah, we do.
But it doesn't.
Whoever's like more in the mood to
Yeah.
go, or
we love
has more
movies.
energy. Yeah.
And we like to go like after.
At night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because guess what? There is literally nobody there.
That's right. Last time we went, we were literally the only people in the theater.
Literally. Like, it was a private viewing for us.
I know. And we're like, oh, I called ahead and I reserved it just for
Reserved
you.
the theater just for you. Because usually if you reserve the theater, it's a lot more expensive than
Oh
movie
yeah.
tickets.
A lot more.
So let's pretend we want to manipulate each other, or I'm going to manipulate you.
Okay.
And because sometimes it can be subtle. It depends on how good the people are or not, right? And you need to decide whether this is a conversation, a dialogue, or whether I have an agenda. Hey,
What's up?
nothing much.
Okay. What's going on?
I'm just having a hard day.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's going on?
I'm just having a hard day.
Is there anything I can do to help your day be better?
Well, what if we went to the movies?
Well, I don't know. I have a lot to do, and I've got to take the kids somewhere, and we've got an early morning tomorrow. So I just don't think today would be the best day. Could we go another day? I'd love to take you another day.
So you don't want to go to the movies with me?
I can't. I do
We're
want
doing
to
a
go.
bit. This isn't me.
I do want to go to the movies with you.
Then let's go.
And
You want to go.
I do want to go.
Say
I
yes
just
to
can't
yourself.
go. I just can't go today.
It sounds like you can't go today. It sounds like you don't want to go today.
I would love to be able to go, but I have other important things that I've already committed to, pre-committed to.
Listen to her trying. She can't stand. She can't. She's trying to tell me
There's
no.
a word I'm trying to think of, and I'm like, I have pre-commitments that I've already made that I'm just unfortunately. Can we schedule for another day?
You know what? I don't feel like you prioritize our relationship.
That really hurts for me to hear you say that.
So,
Knowing I would never respond that way, I'd be like,
At this point,
Oh my gosh,
most
of course I do.
most
Of course
people
I
would
do. Let me
end up
see.
doing what?
Let me call
Yes.
John and see if I can get him to take the
Yes.
kids tomorrow. And let me call Sally and tell her I can't go do that thing I told her I'd go do with her. Because I know you're in a lot of pain. And I do prioritize
But only if you want to go.
I do prioritize our relationship.
And that, like, we're laughing and we're making fun of that. But
Yeah.
that happens
That really is how people would
all the time.
mostly respond. Yeah.
I want you to notice that, like, it becomes not what the conversation is about, but it becomes something completely different. Like guilt. Guilt is a big one.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to prioritize our
Well, even
relationship?
that, if you are good friends with someone and you know them, like you would know that that's a really important thing for me
Yes.
to be a good friend.
Yes.
And so for you to touch that,
Yeah.
because that would get me, because I'd be like, oh my God, no, you think I'm being a bad friend? That would get me.
But I promise you, you begin to start watching your conversations and you think they're dialogues, but they're totally not. They will go something like the bit that we just did.
Yeah.
And it's hard.
Dirty dog.
It is. It's dirty. It's fighting dirty.
It is.
Because if you notice, I don't care anything about what she said. What was I trying to do? I just want to get what I want.
Yeah.
So everything that came out of my mouth was literally a bid for you to say yes to me. I don't care if you have commitments tomorrow. I don't care if you have other things. I don't care. What do I want to do?
Yeah, you want to go to the movie.
I want you to go. Do we need, is that our audio?
Yeah, she said that it sounds a bit echoey around now. She said it's starting to sound a little
Probably because
echoey.
we're louder.
Maybe
And
so.
probably our thing is up too high.
Okay.
Okay, so let's back off a little bit. Who's echoey? Which one of us, or both of us?
I don't know. Let me
Let's
see.
back off a little bit from our mics. But it's okay. We're we're getting feedback on our audio as we're doing this.
Yeah.
We're loud talkers, both of us. So I might have to gain up a little bit too much on.
She said maybe both.
Okay. So let's go back a little bit from our mics.
Okay.
Tell her, see if that fixes it. But let's do another bit.
Okay.
And I hope this is helpful for y'all. Like I said, if anybody wants to put it down in the comments about a situation they have that they want us to do a bit on, we'd be more than happy to, because it's good to have examples.
Yeah, that's what I was asking her. If anybody has commented, that's what I was checking with her on that too. We haven't got anything yet, but she'll let us know.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. Let me see. I think one of us should ask, go into your boss and ask for a raise.
Oh, why don't we do me to you?
Okay. So who's the boss and who's the raisee?
Me asking for
Okay.
a raise?
Because what I want to point out is, if you're going to go, if a situation like you're going to go in and you're going to ask for a raise, for one, if you're not a natural communicator, you definitely want to practice to get a little bit more comfortable. You want to go in with what you want to say. And in going in with what you want to say, you, I hate to say you have to get in and you have to get out. You have to stay focused. She's going to ask me for a raise, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to distract her, but she's going to stay on purpose.
Okay.
And okay, I'm thinking, okay,
You wanna do it
what
the
I want you
opposite?
to do what?
Do you want to do it the opposite?
Yeah, let's do it the opposite
Okay,
way. Let's
that
do
works.
it the opposite way. Okay, I'm going to stay on task. Okay.
Okay. But you want me to not stay on task?
Yeah, I want you to try to deflect
Okay.
and do that.
I'll
Okay.
Yes, come on in.
The dog.
The dogs.
And it was literally me. I'm sorry. The dogs think somebody's at the
Hey,
door
Angie,
now.
come on in. What can I help you with today?
Well, I want to talk about my performance review is coming up. And
Yeah.
one of the things I kind of want to have a pre-conversation about my salary.
Uh-huh.
Are you open to having that conversation?
Absolutely. What did you want to discuss about it?
As per our last performance review, we talked about delaying my performance, delaying my raise just a little bit. And I want I've met all the criteria this year, and coming in to ask for that, I do want that 5% raise that we talked about.
Well, you know, we've been doing a lot of number crunching with the company and the state that it's in right now. So, I mean, tell me some of the things you feel like would be performative that you've met those goal markers. And, you know, we're just not sure if we're going to be able to meet that this year. You know, we've had to move some things around, and, you know, we're just, you know, I mean, tell me what you think it is that you've actually met those goals.
I'm not going to go too much into specific, because then that would be a whole other thing. So, pretend like I said a couple of things like that. And I totally get, and thank you for sharing where you see the company is at. But I also believe that I add a lot of value to my role, to my position. So I'm going to have to hold you to your word about that 5% increase.
Well, you know what? We'll have to look at that. We'll see after your performance review, after we talk about what we're going to do. You know, what do you think your goals are for next year? What do you want to work on? Where are you looking forward to heading next year?
Okay. See how I'm going to say, you said 5%. I'm going to say, yes, I'm going to get 5. You know, I've met my goals. I have done my part of it. And in doing my part of it, then you're going to have to pony up the 5%. And I'm not going to say it in that way, but I need to go into this situation with a clear goal. And you need to understand, like, okay, if it's 5% that they promised me, I need, before I even go in there and ask this, is it a deal breaker for me if this doesn't happen? Because that's going to really determine where this goes. If it's a deal breaker, then I'm not going to tell her I'm going to quit. I'm not going to threaten anything, but I'm going to let them know that, you know, I'm really going to have to think about this. So I'm going to say to me, for context of this, that it is a deal breaker for me, and I am willing to go and look for another position. So we're going to continue this. Well, you know, I appreciate all the points that you made. But again, I'm going to have to return back to the point of last year where you said, if I did 1, 2, and 3, which I have completed, and exemplary, I'm going to have to insist what you said. You said, if you do 1, 2, and 3, you will receive a 5% bump.
Well, I can understand why you feel that way, but you know, we were in a different place then as a company, and than we are now, and so we're going to have to review that in a different way.
Okay.
Now, we could maybe meet you at about.
Hold on for a second, because we can't do the whole bit. We just have to do. You're committed to the role. I appreciate that.
I'm trying. I don't know what you're.
I know. So what I'm going to say is, I'm just going to insist. I'm going to come back. No matter how many times she comes back, I'm going to say, this is what you said. Are you saying to me you're not going to do what you said you were going to do?
Correct. That's right. We won't be able to do that.
Okay. Well, I thank you for your input on that, and I'm going to have to think about how I feel about that, and what direction I want to go with that, because it does make me feel a little uncomfortable if you were to go back on your word.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can understand that.
And so in a job, I think people get really scared about that, but it's okay to say, this is what was said, and this is not, especially for something like this. And usually you're not going to have a boss to come back that hard at you.
Yeah.
They're going to be a little bit more discreet. They're not going to be like, I'm not going to do that. They're going to play it a little bit closer to the vest. But in that, you want to make sure where you're going with that. If I wasn't ready to leave. If I wasn't, then I would respond very, very, very differently.
Yeah, and I could have drug that out longer.
Yes. But for time's sake, we don't want to do that. So in this, decide if you're in a position where you're like, I'm asking for a raise, and it's already been promised to you, but they're kind of dangling a carrot, and then maybe there's like, you know, these have been completed, but we need you to do this too and this too. Be okay. You're not being rude. You're not being disrespectful. It's not disrespectful. A lot of it's about tone, but it's not disrespectful to come back and to say to somebody that, hey, you know, my recall is, this is what I was promised. Is your recall different?
Right.
Like, to use phrases like that. You said that this would happen. Are you telling me now that that's not going to happen? And not arguing, just asking a question and getting them to commit. A lot of times they won't commit to either way. Well, oh, no, I'm not saying that. I'm going to have to look. I'm going to have to review and things like that. So the dogs are going crazy over there. So that's kind of how that would look like. And it really does depend on your situation. Like I said, if you have that situation and you want something more specific, let us know and we can definitely come up with that. What's another bit that we could do?
Well, I think one thing that's hard for people is saying no to family about anything,
Okay.
even if it's like a relationship where you've distanced yourself and you're like, oh, I know that this isn't good. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's still hard when the person comes back and asks.
Yeah.
Like money, I think is hard for people to say no to family when they see them struggling or.
Okay, so what bit do we want to do?
I don't know. I just thought you'd come up with something if I said that. I don't know.
Okay, let's say
Like, I
let's go
can't-
with the family one.
I don't have a specific scenario.
Okay. So let's talk about like say let's say you come and ask me to borrow money.
Okay.
How about that?
Like,
Like a family member.
oh, okay.
Okay. Because hear me. Okay, there's going to be a couple strategies. So come at me. And
Come ask you for
play
money?
this a couple times because there's a couple ways that you can do this.
Okay.
I
All
want to
right.
point out.
Okay. Hey, Mom. Can I?
Oh, it's my kid.
I'm just really behind on my car payment right now, and you think I could borrow like $400, and like that would help me get caught up, and then I'd be okay.
Well, sweetie, I really want to help. Let me think about it, okay? Let me think about it and get back to you.
Okay.
Okay. That's your number one strategy if a thing, because a lot of things, and hear me, these are not like one size fits all solutions. If your child never asks you for anything, then what are you going to say? That's a completely different scenario. But we're going to say in this scenario, this is somebody that's been irresponsible, that this is a way of life, and I have already decided I'm not loaning them any more money. So first thing you do is in a moment, don't respond. Say, let me think on this. Because why? Because especially a child to parent, your heartstrings are going to be pulled. And if it takes you off guard, like just say, you know what, I'm going to have to think on that. Or, hey, let me get back to you. That's your number one. If you feel conflicted at all to say no, and you've already decided to say no, like I said, it could be very different. There's people in your life that you'd be like, absolutely, yes. But if it's something where you feel like you might be enabling the person, where it might be a position that it's like, this is just not going to be healthy for either one of us. How do I get out of this situation and still keep the relationship intact? Now, understand, all I can be responsible for is how I'm going to answer it. I can't be responsible for how the other person responds. As a daughter, like you could get mad and be like, Mom, you don't care. I'm going to be homeless, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to lose my car and storm out. I can't control that. That's why a lot of times with communication, with no, I need to pre-decide where I stand on something. And if I'm not sure where I stand on it, 100%. Say to them, let me think on it and I'll get back to you. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And I think it's so important. Okay. So now I've thought about it and we're coming back to the conversation.
Okay.
I'm going to say, hey, sweetie, the conversation we had the other day.
Yeah, I really need to know because I'm already behind. I got to pay the bill.
I don't see that I'm going to be able to help you with that.
Mom, I'm going to lose my car. How am I going to get to work?
Honey, I'm sorry. I don't think I can help you.
Mom,
with
I
that.
know you have the money.
It's not
Like
an
you
issue.
gave Sally money last week.
The answer's no.
Mom, this is not fair. What am I going to do?
The answer's no.
What am I supposed to do, Mom? I'm going to lose my job. And now I'm going to get fired. I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to be homeless. What am I going to, I can't believe you're going to do this to me.
Well, I see that you're escalated a little bit right now. So I think that what we need to do is let's back off a little bit of this conversation and let's come back at it again, maybe say in a day or two. I have some ideas about how you might be able to progress forward. But I don't think we're in a state right now that either one of us can hear and listen.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Mom. As if that's how that would end.
Boom. She would storm out the door.
Yeah.
I'm never talking to you
Yeah.
again. But that's another point where it's easy, like it's not easy-ish, but if that was going to go nowhere. She was not listening. She was not going to hear. All she was doing is trying to talk at me. She wasn't listening. She didn't want to hear no. So there is nothing that I can say that is going to make that situation any different. So what do? Get out of that situation.
Yep.
I'm not going to, because it's no longer a dialogue. And as soon as it's not a dialogue, and no matter what I would say in that moment, if I said, get a second job, oh my God, well, you don't care. Like, it would just keep escalating to a point where it would not be helpful.
Yeah.
So gracefully bow out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's come back again.
Oh, same scenario.
Same
She's
scenario.
daughter's coming back at it again.
That's right.
Mom.
Well,
what?
No, I'm going to come back to you because I told you I'd get back to you.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, hopefully you're de-escalated, daughter.
All right. Okay, hold on.
Okay, sweetie, I want to pick up the conversation that we were having the other day. As a mom, it breaks my heart to say no to you, but I feel like that we're in this position a lot. And I don't want to enable you. I want to empower you to be able to pay your bills. So what I'd like to do is talk about, if you're open to it, maybe ways that we can make that different. But I'm not going to loan you the money.
Well, I don't know what else I can do. I've thought of everything and nothing is going to work.
Well, why don't we brainstorm? What do you think you could do because there's only a couple things. Like you can lower your bills or raise your income. Which seems more reasonable to you right now?
I guess I could raise my income.
Well, tell me, what are some ways you think you could raise your income?
Well, I really don't want to get a second job, but maybe I could do that.
Okay. Do you want to drive your car? And my point by coming back out this, if she came back and she could have a dialogue about it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that it would always go this way. Sometimes they might be like, screw you, you're just wasting my time, and walk out. So there's no hard and fast rule how to do it. We want to give you several bits where you can get an idea how to handle that. If she comes back, and hear me, like I'm not trying as a mom to an adult daughter, I'm not trying to tell her how to run her life. I'm just saying this is me, and I'm not going to give you any more money. But I'm your mother, and I'm compassionate, and I'd love to help you brainstorm about how to get you out of this situation that doesn't involve me giving you money.
Yeah.
And so you can be empathetic and you could be caring and you could try to do that. Sometimes though, the person will be like, screw you. It's my business. And she would have every right to come back and say, screw you. But if you're asking me for money, especially like a mother to a daughter, then are you willing to have me lend you some wisdom in that area?
Right.
I'm not talking about controlling her life, trying to be the boss of her life. What I want to do is lead her to her own answers, and not manipulatively, but just, hey, what are some ways that you think that can happen?
Right.
So I think that that's really important.
Yeah.
Again, I can't control what she's going to do with that.
Yeah.
Do we have more feedback?
Also, I was looking. How do you say
more
that?
feedback on our audio? We have dead air.
Okay, so how this is a scenario
That we got, or
well, kind of.
okay.
I don't know if they posted this. I'm going to let you.
Okay. Okay, that's a very specific request, or very not specific, but specific to a situation.
Yeah.
Okay, let me think of how to answer that, or how to say that. Okay, basically, how to say no like if you have a friend, right?
Right.
And maybe that friendship is in movement, like maybe that friend is, your relationship is kind of whittling down.
Yeah.
Or, transitioning to a different phase.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe say you've had a relationship that has been closer, and maybe this relationship now has gone to a place where it's like you're pulling back. Maybe like we have a relationship, and I've decided that this isn't okay. This isn't an okay relationship for me. I want to be kind. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be rude. But it's not going to be with the same level of intimacy, emotional intimacy that has been. So let's see. Okay, you're a friend, and you want me to go on vacation.
Okay. I want you to go on vacation with me, but you've been kind of pulling back.
And play it soft.
Okay.
In the way that
I kind of know you're pulling back.
kind of you sense it, and it hurts, and yeah.
But I'm like, maybe we can go on vacation. Okay. Hey, how are you?
Hey, pretty good. How are you? How have you been? It seems like it's been a while since we spoke.
I know. I've been so good. I've been missing you.
I've been missing you.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about you the other day, and I'd really love to spend some time together. So, I know we before had talked about like wanting to go on a cruise and stuff like that. And I got this, like they have a deal right now. If you buy one, you get like a guest for free. And so I would love to go. What do you think about me and you going on a cruise together, and we can hang out, and then if like you wanted to do your own thing some, and I could do my own thing if we wanted to do it like that, but we could also go together and spend some time together. How would you feel about that?
I'm glad that you're bringing this up. And what I'm going to do is have two conversations in one. Really, I'm going to address her request, but I'm also going to be honest about the shift that I'm experiencing. And because we're talking about the power of no, but this is also a no to going up a level in friendship. I'm glad that you brought this up. I've been wanting to have a conversation, and honestly, I've been avoiding having this conversation with you. I think you've felt me pull back a little bit in our relationship.
I've noticed that you've kind of changed how you are around me.
I feel like it makes me feel sad, but I feel like I'm kind of going in this direction and you're going in that direction. And I think it's hard for both of us. I see you being pulled. I see me being pulled. And if I'm honest about how I feel more pulled to this situation right now. Do I want to go on a vacation? I would love to go on a vacation because it's familiar, but I really feel like I'm supposed to be over here, and I'm supposed to putting my focus and my attention over here.
Well, I just feel like I keep trying and trying and trying to work on our relationship, and you won't make any effort.
I can appreciate that you feel that way, and I would feel that way if I were in your shoes. But again, this is a new direction that I'm going, and I'm going to have to say no on that vacation. I just feel like the season of relationship that we are in, I'm just not there right now.
Well, I just feel like this would be good for us.
I'm going to have to politely decline.
Okay, fine. I can't. I would never make it on SNL. I can't do it.
And it is. It's harder to do a bit than people would think it is.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like say, if you have a friend that you've been close to, and there's just something coming in between.
Yeah.
And there's just, sometimes you just have to pony up and be honest.
Yeah.
And say, I'm going here. I didn't want to say too much about the other person, because I don't want you to be telling what's going on with the other person. I can tell from my perspective, I feel like I'm here and I feel like you're going over there. But notice I didn't bring it up again. I'm just like, I want to be compassionate. I want to be nice, but at the same time, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And it's sad. It's okay to be sad.
Yeah.
And it would be sad for a relationship to transition and become less than what it was.
Well, especially when it's one person that primarily
yes.
prefers that.
I call it
'Cause-
limiting factor. There's usually
Yeah.
always somebody that's going to be the limiting factor. Another case in which that shows up is like when a breakup
Yep.
or a divorce,
Yep.
things like that. There's always, I hate to say downgrades
Yeah.
in relationships, but it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the person who's choosing to move on or choosing to go a different direction feels bad and feels guilty. And a lot of times what they do is they send mixed messages.
Yeah.
They'll be like, okay, like let me send mixed messages. Ask me to go on vacation again.
Hey, how about that vacation that I talked to you about? Remember we were talking about the cruise? We want to go on a cruise. I got this like buy one, get one free. Come on, we can go. It'll be great. You want to come?
I don't know. Like I said,
It'll be so much fun. Oh my God. I know you've been working so hard. We need a break. We'll go and we'll rest. We'll chill. We'll have so much fun.
but I really feel like I'm just going in a different direction.
I know, but it is just one weekend. It's like a 4-day cruise. It'll be no big deal. We'll have a blast. We'll have so much fun. Come
So
on.
see, here me is feeling guilty. She's making a good, I don't want to keep telling her no and keep telling her no. If you noticed in the last time, finally, I just had to say I'm going to have to politely decline because chances are the other person's going to keep asking and keep asking and keep asking. And we kind of see that as like, oh, they're sad, they're upset. But in all honesty, like it's a disrespect. If somebody says no, at some point, no means no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to be like, are you sure you don't want to? Or
Yeah.
like, maybe there's a reason why they're saying no. And sometimes we try to figure it out. But you just have to, when somebody says no, okay.
Well, I could even have played the card like with the first scenario. I could
That's
have
right.
I could have even said like, I know I haven't been a very good friend, and I really want to make it up to you, and I've
Yeah.
worked on myself, and I've changed, and it's
Okay, I'll go
on
on the cruise.
It'll be different, and I could have gone that route,
Yeah.
and said other things to try to pull you back in.
And this happens in, I can't even tell you, like friendships, but also breakups are really
Yeah.
the big place that this happens.
Yeah, like fake
Where
responsibility.
As soon as you sense that somebody's pulling away, you get real, oh my God, I have this exciting thing. And you create this this chaos and this excitement around things as a bid for attention to pull them back in.
Yeah.
And then the person who already feels guilty about saying no and hear me, like it's not okay to do that. Because what you're doing is you're sending a mixed message. You said, I want to break up. Well, let's be friends still. But maybe we need some time apart before we can entertain that. Like I tell all people who do a breakup, you can't go from being married to friends immediately. You can't go from dating for years and being friends. Like there needs to be a space in between it because breaking up is literally a break. And that fracture has to happen for everybody to adjust to a new role and how to interact with each other differently. And I'll say even it happens with empty nest. Like if you're a mom to somebody that's under your roof and a child, and as they transition into adult, there has to kind of be a fracture too. I'm not talking about like a fracture like you don't break up with your child, but I have to stand back a little bit to let my child find their own legs. And my child is going to, well, Mom, what about this, Mom? And I'm either going to break their wings or I'm going to empower them. But if I feel guilty about saying no, I'm going to send mixed messages. I respect you as adult. No, you're a child. I respect you as adult. No, you're a child. The same thing is with breakup. It's a different story. When there's a breakup, I felt bad. I didn't want to tell them no. So I went back out with them again. I want to let them down easy. No, we've talked about the power of no.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're making yourself feel better, but if you've chosen to get out of that relationship, you've just got to make a clean break.
Yeah,
Right?
100%. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a couple bits that we did. And if
Yeah.
y'all like us doing like little bits and giving like, doing little exchanges like that, if it helps you to see what that looks like, just absolutely let us know. There's a couple points before we end I want to hit. And I think I hit these a little bit. Don't talk or respond when you're triggered. I'm going to have to get back to you. If you don't know what you want, if you get into a conversation about it, the other person will let you know what you want or what they want. And if you're triggered, if you're upset, if you're mad, get out of that conversation. Again, figure out if you're having a conversation or not. And always remember, be kind, do it with the love of the Lord.
Yeah.
You know, remember, like, especially like in a breakup, right? Be firm, but be kind.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, if you get to the point where you've said no, and you can say no at progressively stronger levels, you know, I'm sorry, this isn't working for me, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to
what?
beg to stay in the relationship.
Oh, beg to stay. I was like, what? I did. I did. I totally, one of my relationships, I was like, can we go to counseling? Can we work on it? Can we?
I'm sorry, this is not working for me.
My person was not ready to do that.
I know. And it drew out your breakup.
It did.
And did it hurt more? Like
if I would have just ripped the Band-Aid off, it would have, I think in the long run, I could have healed a little faster and moved on. But my gosh.
Because your partner, like your person, they just weren't being upfront and they weren't being honest with you.
Right.
And hear me, if you're the person breaking up, if you're the person that needs to create distance, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's cruel to give inconsistent messages.
Yes.
I would say.
Yes.
Is that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So also what I want to point out is you don't have to worry about the other person's response. You manage you. You do you, boo. Like, I need to be able to look in the mirror and say, I'm okay. And we addressed this already with the power, the power of no, is that you're not Mother Teresa. The reason you don't like to say no, I don't want to hurt their feelings. No, you don't want to deal with the look on their face when you tell them no. Like most people think, everybody wants to be nice, mostly, right? But you have to get over that. I don't have any control. If I tell you no, I don't have any control over how you're going to respond to that, nor should I. If I say no to you, you get to have your own feelings about being told no.
Right.
Now, ideally, we respect, like you would have respectful behavior, but if you tell somebody no, they're likely to be hurt. If you're the limiting factor in a relationship, that,
it's not good.
The other person's going to hurt.
That's right.
And, there was a good saying, and I love this: the person that broke you can't help heal you.
Yeah.
And
I love that. You said that. I heard you say that to me, like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank you for saying that to me.
Yeah.
And I have told people that since then.
That's
so
huge.
True.
It's huge. If I have rejected you, because that's what saying no to somebody is. It's about me, and I'm just saying, no, I don't want that for me. It's not personal to her. It's just, I don't want that for my life. But I can't turn around and want them to be friends with me.
Oh, yeah.
And want them not to experience rejection and not to experience abandonment.
Right.
Like, I need to give space and be kind, but just give space. And they're going to make a bid back for that affection. No, I don't want this to end. Yes, I want this to continue. I'll be better. I'll do this, and make 5,000 promises and realize it's just, they're scared and they're hurt. And if you give in to that, it prolongs this.
Their reality is shook.
Yeah.
I mean, totally shaken.
Yeah.
And it's like their mind is trying to wrap itself around what's happening.
Maybe we need to do a show on breaking up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Because
that's a good idea.
Because it really is, like, I hate to say there's art to it, but there's so many people do it very, very messy.
Yeah, 100%.
And so to be able to back off, it's going to be uncomfortable for both people. It's going to be uncomfortable for the person breaking up. It's going to be uncomfortable for the person that broke up. But there has to be space to heal. And so often it's like the person that breaks up, I just want to make you feel better. I just want to make you feel better. I just want to make you feel better.
Yes.
But I can't make her feel better.
Right.
You can't make that person feel better if you broke their heart.
That's right.
What are you going to say?
Exactly.
I'm going to get back together with you, but That's usually what ends up
Right.
happening. I'm sorry, I take it back.
Well, I think one of the best things for that, not to go too deep into it, but one of the best things for me whenever I was dealing with a breakup was the social media cut.
Ooh.
But you know what? It really wasn't. But I think it goes back to exactly what you're talking about. Like, I could use that to prolong me pretend staying in it. And we do those kind of things when we break up to try to keep the connection in any way.
First thing I do is say, and not in all cases,
Right.
but in a lot of cases, unfollow them. Take a social media break.
Yeah.
Like that's a way, we've been talking about the power of no, but how do I say no to myself?
Right.
How do I say, okay, this is what I need. I need not that for that not to be in my face
Yeah.
at this moment. And with communication, like to keep to your no is very hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we've talked about a couple different ways. I feel like we just barely scratched the surface, and we kind of opened a can of worms with breakups.
Yeah.
And talking about, because it is, sometimes people will be like, if you're the limiting factor, or somebody else is the limiting factor, maybe you want to work somewhere and they don't want you to work there. Maybe you want to date somebody and they don't want to date you. Maybe you're in a relationship and you want to stay in and they don't. Like it's difficult to navigate, but that power, this is exactly what we've been talking about, is the power of no. How do you stick to your no? And you've just got to do it,
That's right.
or else it becomes cruel.
It does.
Yeah, it's just like back and forth, back and forth. So I wanted to go over this real quick too. This is something that we laugh about at the ministry, but it's so fantastic. I mean, we laugh about it because it's just everybody does this. When we talk about figure out if you're in a conversation or not, some people just want to argue with you.
Yes.
But you can choose. Again, you're managing yourself. You don't have to argue with them. As soon as you figure out somebody's trying to con you, somebody's trying to talk you out of something, then and it becomes a one-way conversation, then what do we say at the ministry?
I know. I don't know. Probably so. Could be. Nice try.
And just if you will adopt, we're going to say this again too, if you'll put these, and these aren't ours, these are Danny Silk, and I just love these because these are just little one-liners these are one-liners that you can say if you realize that this person is just trying to argue with you. You're not going to argue back. I know, I don't know, probably so, that could be, nice try. And a lot of times, like especially like with kids, Mom, everybody's doing it. Probably so. Like there's just like you want to say something back that you're just not feeding into it. And then because as soon as you say, no, honey, not everybody's doing it, then you've just given them ammunition to fight with. So you want to come up with these one-liners, and these are just these. I mean, but you can come up with your answer. Another one that I personally love is, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to give you, hey, we need to do this. I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. But, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. And I call it the broken record. You just keep coming back with, I'm sorry, that doesn't work for me. Or, I know. But are you going to do that? Probably not. And the more, and this is what you don't realize, the more, if somebody's just arguing with you, the more information, the more words you give them back, they feed that into their little argument wheel, and then it comes back at you.
That's right.
And so you're trying to explain yourself because you feel bad or you feel guilty, you feel uncomfortable with the no, but that's not their goal. Their goal is to get you to say yes. So they're going to use every extra word that comes out of your mouth to flip that. Yeah. So think about that. And we'll have to do another, maybe a breakup one. I like that.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Okay. So this weekend, I wanted to say this, if you've made it all the way to the end of the slide, and Two's already posted this, I believe, but we are having a conference along with Alvin Healing Rooms, and we're going to have Tyler Johnson here. And if you've ever heard, if you've done the challenge, the 63-day challenge, we've played his videos before. Man, he is an amazing speaker, a dynamic speaker, amazing speaker, loves God. And so I would encourage you, we're going to have it tomorrow, 7 p.m., and we'll drop the address, and
Yeah.
we'll also be sending out another blast. But it's at a church in Alvin. It won't be here at the ministry. It's at a church in Alvin. And 7 p.m. tomorrow night, Thursday. Friday, it's going to be at 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. And then Saturday at 10 a.m. and
1 p.m. It's at
So-
Trinity Apostolic
Church.
Faith Church.
Trinity Apostolic Faith Church in Alvin. And if you've been to our joint conference before, it's at the same church. And so it's just he's really great. I can't wait to hear what he's going to speak about. And they just do epic mission trips.
Yeah.
They just do mission trips so well. And whatever picture you have in your mind when I say mission trip, get it out of there. Because they are just so effective, so dynamic, and it just changes lives. And they go into places that not everybody will go into. So I want you to make sure that you're at the conference Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Be there every second that
Come
you can.
get blasted.
Yeah, that's right. Come
Yeah.
get blasted. And we will see you this weekend.
Yep.
Let's go ahead. Let me pray out.
Okay.
Dear Lord, I just thank you, Lord. I thank you that you give us the ability to say no. Lord, I thank you that you guard our minds and you guard our hearts, and you just give us the words to be able to be kind and also to be firm. Lord, that we have that perfect balance just as Jesus has, and being able to get our point across, but also do it in love. We thank you, Lord, that your mercy just reigns out supreme upon us. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 There's different scenarios. They were
Huh?
funny. I said
I
those different
know.
scenarios were